All right. So it's a little, it's just a little chill, puzzly type game called Assemble with Care. I got it super cheap with another game I played a little bit ago. A little loud for me, anyways. I think it should be fine for you guys though. It was best played with sound. No, really? Most games are.
After a year on the road, I thought I'd get tired of traveling. The endless clatter of
It's a
railways,
story game.
highways, and everything in between. But as my train pulled into the station at Bellariva, I felt every bit as excited as the first day of my journey. A whole year. It felt like a lifetime. The places I'd seen, the people I'd met, of course, the forgotten treasures I'd given a new lease of life along the way. I'm a restorer by trade. Bringing our most beloved possessions back to life is what I love to do. I'd been traveling for months, working my way from one town to the next, fixing everything from family heirlooms to VCRs.
That sounds like a fun job.
Bellariva was my chance to take a break. Unfortunately, that would have to wait until after I'd unpacked.
And pause. The cup of coffee is for pausing. That's cool.
My passport. Not many blank pages left now. I saw a guitarist wearing these at a show once. Rock and roll repair woman, at your service. I picked up these sunglasses on my last stop. Hopefully I'm cool enough to pull them off. Who doesn't love a scrunchie? Practical and stylish. Looking forward to taking more close-ups of my fingers with this.
That's a mood.
I'll hand these out once I'm settled in. Fingers crossed they get me some work.
Ventura Classic. Bootcamp.
Finally, I'd made it to Bellariva. I'd come for the food festival, taking place in a few days' time. After living off TV dinners and instant ramen for the last few months, I was craving a decent meal. Of course, I'd need to earn enough money to pay for it, so I figured I'd head out the next day and find some work.
Oh, I just noticed that this model does not have the same reaction to me backing up as the other one did. I'm gonna have to remember that.
My parents never wanted me to go. They wanted me to stay in their shop and have a simple, stationary life. I knew there was a world out there, beyond the four walls of our antique store, that I had to be a part of. I daydreamed constantly about the weird and wonderful places each of our antiques came from. I loved figuring out their stories, revealing the memories hidden beneath the screws and wires. My story in Bellariva began with a little girl and a voice she was longing to hear. It was my first morning in Bellariva, and I couldn't wait to leave my hotel and explore. It was a quiet town, its streets and alleyways basking peacefully in the hot morning sun. In the main square, meanwhile, preparations were underway for the festival in a few days' time. As I handed out my flyers, I wondered what the people of Bellariva would need me to fix. So far, everything here seemed perfect.
Those eyes, though.
I was starting to worry I'd made a mistake when I felt someone tapping me on the back.
Hi, I'm Izzy. Do you know how to fix things?
It was a little girl, maybe 7 years old, who must have gotten hold of one of my flyers. She rummaged around in her backpack until she hauled out a battered red cassette deck.
My tape is broken and I can't make it work anymore. I tried to fix it myself, but there's this metal thing in the way. Can you try?
Ah, there it is. Nah.
Aha! Those batteries look like they need replacing. Luckily, I have some spares.
Those look like really old batteries. Where'd the screw go? Oh, there it is. I remember having to do
Why
this.
did you do that?
Will you dream a dream for me? If I sit by your side and hold you so tight, know that I will always love you, even though we both know that we must say goodnight. Good night, my darling.
Oh. But her mom.
When it finished, Izzy picked up the tape deck and tucked it carefully into her backpack.
Thanks, Maria. You're the best person at fixing things ever.
No problem. Who was that singing? They're very good.
It's my mum. She's not here anymore.
Oh.
Izzy trailed off. It was the kind of silence a cassette tape would never be enough to fill. When Izzy's friends called for her, she dug deep into her pockets, looking for something to pay me with. Eventually, she produced a grand total of a stick of gum, 3 mismatched buttons, and a yo-yo. I usually preferred a check, but Izzy looked so serious, I wrote out a full receipt. She seemed like a happy kid, but beneath it all, part of her life had been shattered. Part I wouldn't be able to fix. My first repair complete, I spent the rest of the day doing small jobs in and around the square. I was exhausted when I got back to my hotel and found a message asking me to make one more visit. The address led me to a quaint little house, a stone's throw from the beach. Bathed in the evening light, it looked beautiful, in spite of its flaking paintwork and chipped tiles. The front door was opened by a harried-looking man, still dressed from a long day at the office.
Are you Maria? My name's Joseph. I'm Isabel's father. I'm so sorry she bothered you this morning. Please, come in. I'd like to settle up properly.
On the mantelpiece, I saw the remains of a broken statue. Without thinking, I picked up a fragment.
Ah, my father's statue. What's left of it, at least. Yet another way I'd have disappointed him. It survived 100 years in this family. But 5 minutes with Isabel and... Do you think you can salvage it?
I love glue. Better be super
Will
glue.
you be able to see the glue afterwards? I don't want people seeing the cracks.
Did I do the piece yet? Oh, no, the foot's gotta go in first.
Sometimes I think my daughter should come with a warning label.
That's just kids in general, dude. I am using so much glue.
Is this glue really strong enough to hold everything together?
Hi, Ginger. Thank you for the follow. Why can't I? Fixed.
Thank you, Maria. It looks as perfect as it ever did. My father wanted me to make something of myself. He didn't have time for anything less.
I always forgot about about the gold pixel heart. Whenever I see that badge, it always throws me for a loop for a second because where's that from again?
As Joseph put the statue back on the shelf, it nudged against the family portrait stood proudly next to it. So he was Bellariva's mayor. And that was Izzy's mom. They must both miss her so much.
Sorry, I'm a little tired. I've been working late getting things sorted for the festival. There's only a few days to go. Looks like I'll be working late. Again?
Yeah, I had the snowflake badge for the same reason. It was before they did the Twitch donate tool, and it was just like if you did bits or subs or something to like an Extra Life charity stream or something, you got a snowflake badge.
When I told my parents I wanted to leave, they always found an excuse to be busy, to avoid talking about it. I guess keeping themselves occupied was their way of pretending it wasn't happening. Joseph's work must have been taking up so much of his time. But maybe that was what he wanted. I just hoped he was finding enough time for Izzy, too.
Chapter 3. Phone. Wow, a rotary phone. One of my neighbors used to have a rotary phone, and as a kid I remember going over just to play with it because it was so interesting.
Sunny morning. Walking into town, I passed cafes overflowing with customers cradling their morning coffees. I stopped, breathing in the smell of roasted coffee beans and freshly baked pastries.
That is a wonderful smell. Still weird that I love the smell, but I hate the taste of coffee.
I was about to go inside when the owner of Carmen's, the cafe next door, stopped me.
Hello, Maria? Were you here yesterday handing out flyers? I have a job for you.
Her place was petite, tucked between its
Petite.
competitors as if hoping they wouldn't notice. Judging by the empty tables inside, though, her potential customers hadn't noticed it either.
It's a bit slow today, but we're just getting started. I'm sure it'll pick up soon.
As Carmen chatted, she walked over to the counter and returned with an old rotary phone.
At least I've got plenty of time to practice my recipe for the festival. It's a new special I've been working on. I was hoping to call my sister for some, seasoning tips, but it won't connect.
Wonder how many people nowadays actually, like, remember what a rotary phone is or how to use one. I've seen so many videos of people trying to get their kids to use one and failing miserably. They're funny to watch, though.
Can you see if you can figure out what's wrong? Obviously, we'd normally be much busier than this. You can fix it, can't you? I can't afford to replace it.
There's so many screws. Oh, that is way busted. What did you do? Drop this thing on the floor? Click the wire and drag it to the toolbox to attach. Oh. I wrote.
Looks like this new circuit board is all hooked up.
I might want to put the actual dial back on first. Is that really what the inside of a rotary phone looks like? Now I'm kind of curious. I want to open up a rotary phone.
There's still a part I need to attach. Where does it go?
Done.
When I handed the phone back to Carmen, she seemed almost reluctant to take it from me.
So it's all working now, is it? I don't have to leave it to dry or let it cool down?
Nope, it's ready to go. It'll be ringing off the hook in no time.
That's if I can pay my phone bill anyway. And the rent and the suppliers. Anyway, take a seat and I'll be right with you. Your coffee's on the house.
I sat at one of the empty tables, while at the counter, Carmen had started dialing the phone.
Hello? How's my favourite sister doing today?
As she talked, Carmen became more and more tense. This didn't seem like a call for some cooking advice.
No, it does not.
I know I still owe you from last time, but I can't afford to take part in the festival if I don't pay.
I could almost feel the eye roll at the other end of the line.
You don't need to be here, though. Can't you just put the check in the post?
Asking for money?
When the call ended, Carmen brought me my coffee, her hands trembling.
Sorry about that. My sister's decided to fly in for a visit. Oh God, I have to get ready. Actually, I might have another job for you. Can you come by tomorrow?
Level 4. I feel like these are more chapters than levels, though. Ooh. Camera.
The next day, I'd promised Carmen I'd return to help her get the cafe ready for her sister's arrival. I was about to set out when I received an unexpected call from my hotel's reception desk. Apparently, another guest had asked for me by name. Curious, I took the creaking elevator up to the top floor and made my way to the room number they'd given. I knocked.
Are you here about the camera? It's about time.
I don't like her already.
The woman in front of me was immaculate. Not a hair out of place or a crease to be seen.
My sister tells me you know how to fix things. I'd usually go to an expert, of course, but in this town...
So this was Carmen's sister? The two of them couldn't have been more different.
No kidding.
Inside her room, I saw a beautiful reflex camera. Any professional photographer's dream.
The viewfinder is completely dark. I can't see anything through it at all. I assume you can figure out what's wrong? I don't suppose you've fixed anything this valuable before.
Rude.
If I use the screwdriver, I could adjust the angle of the mirror. Perfect. Now the viewfinder should be working.
Now. Don't do that. Oh, there was film.
Still a few parts missing.
Didn't know I was swapping out your film for you, too. That's a nice camera.
I felt a pang of envy as I handed the camera to Helena. I put my disposable to shame.
I picked it up on my first trip to Paris. It's a 1958 limited edition, the first of its kind. It cost me 3 months' salary, but it was worth it.
Brag, why don't you? Hi, Chin.
I I had no idea what 3 months' salary meant to Helena, but I was pretty sure it was more than I could afford. It was strange, really, that we were even staying in the same hotel. I'd picked this place because it was cheap and cheerful, but surely she could afford somewhere better? She took some test shots, fiddling with the camera settings until she was absolutely satisfied.
This work is immaculate. At least there's one person in this town who knows what they're doing. Sending you to me
Just
might be the
lurking.
first
I
thing
appreciate
Carmen's
it.
actually gotten right.
I wondered why Helena had bothered coming if she thought so little of her sister.
I hear nothing from her for weeks, and then when she finally does call me, all she wants is money. If she
Viking
thinks
cat?
I'm lending
Yes.
her another penny, she'll have to convince me it's not a total waste of time.
Yes.
That didn't sound good. If Hurricane Helena was about to hit, I hoped Carmen was ready. The sun was setting over Bellariva by the time I reached Carmen's cafe. From the outside, it looked as quiet as ever, but inside, I found Carmen cleaning like her life depended on it.
Mm. My shorts did not upload. One of them did. I'll have to try and upload those later. Again. Give me just 1 second, guys. And they're almost over. Ugh. That's weird. One place says they're over, the other one doesn't. So there we go.
Maria! Oh, don't mind all of this. If Helena finds one speck of dust in here, I'll never hear the end of it.
Carmen seemed pleased to see me, but I sensed the fidgeting tension beneath each sweep of her mop. Trying to live up to the standards of someone like Helena seemed like an impossible task.
I hope you didn't mind fixing the camera for her. She was furious when it broke. I really need this to go well. If she doesn't lend me the money, I don't know how long I can keep this place going.
Carmen led me to a back room, where she'd laid out the components of what looked like a neon sign.
I had this made when I first opened the cafe, but I'm hopeless with electronics.
No, I couldn't tell.
So there was supposed to be a sign outside. This might explain the lack of customers.
I'd like to put it up before Helena gets here. Can you give it a try?
Seems like a really simple one. Oh. Hi, Chrono. Why you booping me? All the glue in the world. Just to boop? Fair. Oh, wow. All the extra glue left. Something feels out of place. Rotate. Rotate. No way, that's all fixed. What am I missing? Oh, I had to turn it on first.
I don't know, it's a bit flat. Maybe if it flashes, it'll really catch people's eye.
Great idea. I think I have a spare part that could do that.
Oh. Knew that was too easy. Go in the screw. I have a feeling that goes there. And this has to go here.
It still needs something else. Maybe we can add one of these.
What kind of shop are you? I don't think you're a bar. I don't think you sell ice cream. Let's go with the pizza. Pizza. I knew there was a reason they gave me so many wires. Yep. Oh, crap. Oh, put it on.
It works! I'll screw everything together again and you'll be set.
Why does only one of them flash though? Because they're all connected, so shouldn't they all flash? Seems weird. Or is it just because... Oh, I see how... Oh, okay, never mind. Never mind. Logic wasn't logicking.
The sign fixed, we headed outside and mounted it carefully over the cafe door.
That's perfect, Maria. It looks just how I imagined it. When I had this sign made, it all seemed so simple. Oh, I can't believe I might have to give it all up. I hope I've done enough.
The smile froze on her face as she spotted something over my shoulder. I turned to see.
Of course, my sister owns the only cafe in this entire town that isn't actually open.
For better or worse, Helena had arrived. Carmen opened her mouth to explain, but Helena swept indifferently past her. Finally pausing in the doorway, she turned back towards Carmen.
The first thing we're doing is getting rid of that hideous sign.
Yeah, it's kind of rude, but also kind of funny.
And with that, she disappeared inside. I hoped Carmen's chances of saving the cafe hadn't disappeared with her.
It's a Game Boy! One of my game. I wish my Game Boy still worked.
It was the day before the festival, and the whole town was busy getting ready. I had more work than I knew what to do with. When Joseph called with another job, I was craving the cool quiet of his and Izzy's seafront house. I'd barely reached their front door when I heard someone calling me.
Psst, Maria, I need your help. Quickly, it's top secret.
It was Izzy, peeking out from the side of the house. She beckoned for me to follow her. She led me through to a beautiful, unruly garden overflowing with flowers of every color. Nestled among them was a playhouse, its doorway almost completely obscured by a towering rose bush.
You have to squeeze past it and breathe in real small, like this.
Izzy took in a big gulp of air and crawled through the gap and into the playhouse. I hadn't planned on crawling in the dirt today, but the life of a repairwoman never did run smooth. On the table inside, there was an electronic toy. Not exactly the usual stock in my parents' antique shop.
I had an accident. I didn't do it on purpose or anything, but it won't turn on anymore. Can you fix it for me?
Yeah, 1 second, guys. I'm making a drink. Let's do strawberry lemonade today. Oop is bigger than my other ones. What is most certainly bigger than my other ones? Almost done, guys. Alright. Drink has been made. Oh, it just pops apart. Wondering why I didn't have any tools. Hi, Attica. This one. Oh, the top's broken too. I'm doing alright. Hi, Veltra. Hope you're holding up okay. I wish I remembered where I plugged all of these in. It's called Assemble with Care. It's just a little little puzzle story type game. Oh, I see what's going on. Okay. So because this one went to the volume and it's number 3, that means I need to plug volume into 3. Light into 1. And screen into 2. I hope to God that's correct. Yeah, if you need your mental break, you are of course free to take that mental break here. Enjoy the
Do grown-ups play games as well?
chill game and vibes.
Can you show me how to play? I tried before, but it was so hard.
Yeah, I took a picture of the burb. Yeah, I got this game as like part of a puzzle chill vibe game bundle thing that was going on Steam. So I thought I'd try it today. How are you guys all doing?
Her toy fixed, I watched Izzy retreat into its screen, taking refuge in a 3-inch world of her own.
You almost done, Yadika? You still got a bit more to go?
Well, I'd better head inside. Your dad is waiting for me.
Please don't tell him about the game. He'll think I broke it on purpose.
Still got a while more? You don't need to apologize for that. Take your time. Don't overwork yourself and stress yourself out over it. Well, I will still be here.
Why would he think that?
Because, well, I kind of dropped it really hard at the wall.
I love that. Why would he think you dropped it on purpose? Because, well, I could have dropped it really hard at the wall. Yeah.
Izzy looked down, scuffing her shoes on the worn floor of the playhouse.
My dad said I had to go to this stupid festival tomorrow and put on a stupid dress, and I don't want to. All he cares about is working. He never wants to see me unless it's for his job. I'm not going. He can't make me.
With that, Izzy dove back through the rosebush and disappeared into the wilds of the garden. She was so young. She couldn't be expected to see that her dad was struggling too.
How's your Mayo doing, Veltra? Oh, god damn it. Veltra, you need to stream again so that I can redeem drink mayo. Just for you. I legitimately can't tell what this one is. I can't tell what this bean is. You don't have redeems yet. We'll work on that. Then I'll make you drink mayo. Oh. Whatever it was the disgusting one. I still can't tell what it is, though. I'm not doing that, Yadiko. Thank you for the care package, Cookie.
It made me think. Had I really tried hard enough to understand my parents' point of view? I was so focused on the adventures ahead of me. Maybe I didn't care enough about leaving them behind. Leaving Izzy hiding in the garden, I walked around to the front of the house and rang the doorbell. It was only then I noticed my favorite overalls covered in grass stains. I scrubbed desperately, but it was too late.
Maria, what are you doing? What happened to your clothes?
I was, repairing a lawn mower.
How unusual. Well, do come in. The job I've got for you is a little more delicate.
Totally embarrassed, I walked into an orderly room filled with papers and ledgers. So this was his office. You must be so busy getting ready for the festival. Are you looking forward to it?
Of course. It's traditional for the mayor to judge food from every cafe and restaurant in town. I'll be declaring the best chef in Bellariva by this time tomorrow. Speaking of which...
He unclipped the watch from his wrist and very carefully handed it to me.
I'll have a tight schedule to follow, but my watch stopped working a while ago. Could you see if you can make it tick again?
Ooh, a watch. What I remember, watches can be very complicated to repair.
Are you sure it will all fit back together?
Said not be mean this time. Were you gonna do Bean Boozles too? You were staring at it. There's a cooldown on it. So...
The main plate has completely cracked. I'll need to replace it. The cogs look good, though.
Whoa.
If I'm careful, I can reuse those.
You just chucked the watch over. We should be more delicate. Okay, can't salvage any of that. I mean, yes. You can drink mayo. You probably shouldn't, but you can. Oh wait, I have to... I think. I don't think the screwdriver would fit like that. I'm sorry about that, guys. You'll drink mayo? Ew.
I've not gone a day without this watch since my wife gave it to me.
Yeah, was that moving? No. I already gave that answer. It is completely possible to drink mayo. You just shouldn't. Rotate. When did I miss something? Hmm. What did I miss?
There's still a part I need to attach. Where does it go?
I don't know what piece they're... Oh, I'm missing a piece. Right. Or, oh, wait. No? There we go. Had it assembled in the wrong order. This is the first one where I couldn't just plug them in only where they wanted them. Yay! I got it. I'm curious if that's a real watch. Yes, bitch. Elder. Automatic. 36. No. There are watches that are basically the same thing. And holy shit, did they go for a lot of money.
As I handed the watch back to Joseph, my fingers traced over the engraving on the back. I hoped fixing this was one small way I could help him move forward.
If Cookie's gonna hoard points, though, I'm gonna have to figure out some other stuff for you guys to spend stuff on. Not drinking mayo, though.
I can't believe it's working, Maria. Thank you. My wife was a brilliant woman. Feeling this ticking on my wrist, it makes me feel like she's still here. Watches measure minutes and hours like they're infinite. I didn't know we had so little time. Even with Isabel, I barely see her. And when I do, she acts like she hates me.
Oh, I'm right there with you, Cookie. I have like 50k points on Yataka's and another 150k on 2 other people's channels. Oh no, it's 3 people's channels now. The one of them I'm about to redeem 100,000 point redemption on their channel. I had to wait until this model was done before I could do it, though.
Just then, the phone rang. Even when he was at home, his work was never done.
Sorry, Maria. I have to take this. I'll see you at the festival tomorrow.
As I left, I turned and saw him pacing the floor of his office, his watch glinting in the afternoon sun. I hoped its quiet ticking would at least bring him some peace during the busy days to come. When my last job of the day brought me to Carmen's apartment, the door was opened by someone I didn't expect to see, Helena.
Sorry for inflicting this mess on you. Carmen's never seen a knickknack she doesn't want to buy, apparently.
Carmen's apartment was a little chaotic, but totally charming. It was easy to imagine her living in a place like this. It definitely wasn't Helena's style. She seemed more upmarket than flea market. I wondered why she was even here.
We're having a clear out, or at least I am. Carmen's not helping, as usual. There's a market at the festival tomorrow. I'm selling some of these things to make her some money. She says she has nothing when there's all this stuff right under her nose.
Helena stepped delicately past the items on the floor and reached down to pick up one from the pile.
Look at this slide projector. Our parents treasured it, but Carmen treats it like a piece of junk. Can you take a look?
By the way, I am going to do another quick shout out for the 2 people responsible for my model. That is the rigger, and in 5 minutes I will do the one for the artist.
Oh, typical. Carmen's even managed to get a slide stuck in here.
I wonder how you're supposed to get that out.
That light bulb is completely smashed. Okay, I'll need to redirect the light to the lens at the top for the projector to work.
That the way? No. Okay. I wanted to put... Wait, how do I get that to aim up? I'm confused. Oh, they tricked me.
Looks like something is still missing.
I was so excited when I moved to the city. Carmen. She looks so sad. Here's the clicker you'll need to attach. God knows how Carmen broke that as well.
Pick, pick, pick.
There's still a part I need to attach. Where does it go?
No.
When we were younger, Carmen was always following me around.
Looks like there's still a screw missing.
There are several screws missing. Hi, Smacky.
I should make sure I screw everything back together.
I suppose she looked up to me. A cool older sister.
There we go. And that is the artist.
She used to ask me when I was coming home, but I was always too busy.
Helena was transfixed, staring at the two young sisters the projector had brought glaringly into focus.
I never meant to let her down.
But you haven't, have you? You came all this way just to help with the cafe. Plus the money.
That's the problem. There is no money. I lost my job a few months ago. My savings are almost gone. I have nothing. Carmen thinks I'll throw my checkbook at her bad decisions and make them okay. But I can't. Not this time. You know, the funny thing is, I came here wanting to tell her the truth. But she's so infuriating. How can I ask her for help when all she cares about is herself?
Oh, no, it did work.
Hi, Maya. Thank you for the raid. I forgot to fix that toggle. Whoops. I've been here twice now, though. Let's fix that. It is a Maya. Oh, you've played this before? Yeah. I was playing some Monster Hunter earlier and decided to do this as a chill replacement instead. Yes, I was. I lurk in people's streams all the time while I'm streaming. As long as my internet holds up, I'm usually in at least 2 to 3 other people's streams. But welcome in, everybody. I am Multiversal Neko. Thank you so much for swinging by for my new model debut. I'm very happy with it. I am a variety streamer. I will stream just about anything can keep my attention. Because I have a very short attention span. Other than jump scare games and most PvP shooters. I will play pretty much anything else though. So, today we're just going through random games, seeing if any of my friends want to join me at some point or another. Currently, it's just been me though. Yeah, I think I'm almost done though. So we'll see. It is a very good game. I'm enjoying the relaxing, chill vibes.
Helena fell silent.
It's kind of sad though.
Shrinking under the gaze of her younger self, projected onto the wall.
We drifted so far apart when I moved away. It felt like the only thing keeping us together was my bank balance. I know I have to tell her the truth. It isn't fair. But I already lost everything else. What if I lose her too?
I still, so... Venba... I was about to ask what that game was. I'll have to check it out later. You know, I still need to catch your fiance's stream again. I've only managed to be there like twice, I think. I think I almost caught him the other day again. It was like I was waking up as they were ending, so I didn't actually manage to swing by. Indian cooking game. That's an interesting description. Yeah, the time zone seemed to mess that up a little. What time zone are they in, by the way? ADT? Okay, that would explain why we're in such... Yeah, that makes a whole lot of sense. No wonder I can't catch their streams. Wait, what's with all the Australian time zone people? Seriously. Yeah, Yataka's got like half her community is Australian.
The day of the festival finally came, and after all my hard work, I was ready to put down my tools and pick up a fork. The smell as I entered the main square was incredible. Each stall was selling food even more delicious than the last.
Like 2:23 right now. Yeah, you always stream at pretty crazy times for yourself. For some reason that seems like when all Australian time zone people stream. Feels like the one who did my Discord PFP streams now, but they're in Australia, which must mean that they're streaming in the middle of the night for themselves. Okay, I knew you were over there. I didn't think you were Australian, though. I couldn't remember exactly what time zone you were. Just that it was similar. It was several hours ahead, at least. And then... I know, but you're still 12 hours ahead of me, which is approaching the same area. I think Australia is like 14 hours ahead. That means... Okay, so 15 hours ahead. Still stupidly different time zones. That's what I was getting at. Yes, I know. I only know that remotely because my cousin lives there at the moment. Okay, that's what I thought. I thought it changed. I thought we were closer at one point. But I wasn't entirely sure. I still don't expect my cousin to come home. I think he just lives in Australia now. His mom's in denial about that though.
The competition would start any minute. Most stall holders were waiting anxiously for the mayor to pay them a visit.
So Maya, I'm curious now that you've brought this up, since you and Kaz are in different countries, are one of you gonna move to the other's country when you guys get married? I would assume so. I'm just kind of curious which one you'd end up in.
All of them, that was, except Carmen, who was still frantically chopping vegetables and stirring pots.
Maria! Thank God you're here. Can I ask you the world's biggest favour?
I'm still impressed that you can do a long distance relationship to this point, Maya. You're moving there? That's nice. Australia seems like a nice place to live as long as you can get over the snakes and spiders. But that would make sense, moving to the place where the job works out better for you.
Helena was supposed to help me run the stall today, but she never turned up. Probably too ashamed to show her face. I can't believe she lied to me.
Carmen was stirring so furiously she was in danger of tipping the pot over altogether.
The mayor will be here any minute for the judging, but I'm almost out of my special.
Fair. I don't long distance works for some people, but I don't think it would ever work for me, personally. You have to be really good at verbal communication for that to work, in my opinion. And I'm not the greatest at at that part of it. Hey, all the more power to the people who could make it work, though.
She wasn't really going to ask me, was she? Not on my day off.
He came and visited. That's nice. But you guys don't currently still live together, so that's the part where it went back to being long distance. That's all I was saying. I know a couple people who have made long distance work perfectly fine. I know 2 people who are in one right now, and they're making it work perfectly fine. Some people are just more of a physical relationship, and some don't quite need the physical as much.
I have a stove ready to build and everything. Can you set it up and make me a spare batch?
Okay. I didn't sign up for this. This isn't my job. I think there's a leaf here.
It all fits. Now to light the gas.
But again, congratulations, guys. I'm happy for you. Fair. I have ADHD too. It's just, I think I'm on the other end of that spectrum. How do I put it out? How do I put it out?
I think that pot is really boiling now. Smells great, if I say so myself.
Yes. The ADHD superpowers.
What to add first?
Alright, that's an interesting way to throw the ingredients down. 1/4 stick of half a carrot? What? A 1/4 of a half of a carrot. Two broccoli florets. Handful of chopped tomatoes.
That looks good. I'll scoop a spoonful when I'm ready to serve.
3 wild mushrooms. And plenty of something. Plenty of onion, I'm going to assume. Alright, thank you for the raid, Maya. Go get some sleep. I will hopefully catch you again soon.
My part done, Carmen took over and added the finishing touches. It was just in time, and a moment later, Joseph arrived with Izzy in tow. Carmen anxiously handed them both a serving.
That was so tasty. Can I have some more, please?
Well, you've certainly earned yourself a loyal customer in my daughter. We have a few more meals to taste, but so far you are one of the best. Good luck.
Joseph and Izzy looked so happy together. Maybe the festival was doing them some good after all.
Elkaz, I said hi and I hope to catch one of his streams soon. Have the zoomies. That's what being a cat is. That's why we're cat VTubers.
Carmen, on the other hand, seemed annoyed. But why, when it had all gone so well?
I wish Helena was here to see this. She's so convinced I'll never succeed at anything.
She wants what's best for you. She's just not very tactful about it.
Yes, I know. Even when I was a kid, she pushed me when no one else did. I just wish she hadn't lied to me. But then, I've asked so much of her over the years. I never stopped to think how much she actually had to give.
Actually, before I forget, see. That's what I screwed up on. Okay. I'm gonna fix a toggle real quick, guys. So give me just a second. Meant to do it last night and forgot. That one. This goes all the way up to the top. And then I duplicate. It goes to the bottom. Correct. There we go. Now that should be fixed. Question! Thank you for your head, Patiatica. Yeah. How you doing, Bastion? I'm assuming you still got the kids. Thank you for the care package, Nerdy. I hope your family get-together is going well. You just got home from having the boys? Did you not have the boys at your house?
The festival finished. I only had one day left before I had to catch my train and leave Bellariva behind.
Oh, okay. That makes more sense. Like, what? Did you just, like, have the kids in your car? And you just sat there talking to them for a bit and then you kicked them out?
I couldn't go without saying goodbye to Carmen. So, that evening, I made my way to the cafe. It was unrecognizable. She'd done it. Best food in Bellariva. Half the town was outside waiting to see what the fuss was about.
Maria! My favorite sous chef. Come on through.
It was Carmen, acting every inch the successful cafe owner she deserved to be. Even Helena was there, serving the coffees. This was the last place I expected to see her after yesterday's drama. Carmen led me through to a balcony upstairs, where she brought out an old record player.
I found out where Helena was on the day of the festival. She was selling her camera to clear the cafe's debts. But then she didn't have much left for herself. So, I've asked her to come and stay with me for a while. We have a lot of catching up to do.
Would you like to join me for some gaming at some point, Bastion?
I wanted to give her this.
Unless you're gonna go to sleep.
We listened to it all the time when we were kids. Do you think it has one last tune in it?
In a bit. Alrighty. Just let me know. We'll figure something out.
Okay, let's see what happens when we turn this on. The speaker isn't connected properly. I should check the wiring. The speaker isn't connected properly.
I understand
I should
that.
check
Shut
the
up.
wiring.
That is not what I wanted to take off, but okay.
Here's the
Guess
problem.
that's one.
This wiring
You
isn't
do it.
connected properly.
Plus two. Plus. And speak. Who speak?
If I turn the volume up, I should be able to hear it now.
And that.
I think that should do it. This record should play beautifully.
Catching up. New. Ooh. Certainly one way to go about it.
It's spinning the wrong way. How can I get it to play in the right direction? It must be to do with the motor. Let's see if one of these spares can turn things around.
Yes, play the record backwards. Summon Satan.
This motor doesn't seem to work. Maybe I'll have better luck with a different one. Well, it's playing in the right direction. I should check it's turning at the correct speed.
What will remain of these days?
The sweetest words I've ever.
How did it go from a man to a woman just by adjusting the speed?
What will remain of the smiles,
The ones that stole
my heart that day? Surely want to know
That's not half bad.
where did you go? Why'd you leave me alone? Nothing to win or to lose on the lonesome path. Our love was born. What will remain of the smiles, the ones that stole my heart that day? Surely want to know why did you.
The record player's crackling tune must have caught Helena's ear, as she appeared a few moments later.
Is that my old record player? I can't believe you've kept it all these years, Carmen.
Leaning over the music, they looked just like the young sisters the slide projector had preserved all these years, inseparable once again.
I know, isn't it great, Bastion? I'm pleasantly surprised about this game.
Carmen told me about your camera. That was a really generous thing to do.
I loved that camera, but I love my sister more. Now it's her time to be the person she wants to be. I'm going to stay here with her for a while. Make up for lost time.
Carmen and Helena's relationship wasn't suddenly going to be perfect, but they were both prepared to try. And to think, it had all started because of a call Carmen made about some seasoning tips. I guess in the end, maybe it wasn't so hard to just pick up the phone and dial. I
The
hadn't
zoomed in
spoken to
eyes
my
look a
own
little bit
parents
weird,
in a
though.
year. I wanted to hear their voices more than anything. But the silence between us was so cavernous. I didn't know how I'd ever find the words to bridge it.
Okay, yeah, the tiredness is a mood. The creepy looking into your soul is a little bit much, though.
My final morning in Bella Riva, I received one last call out to Joseph and Izzy's house. I knew I had to pack, but I figured I could squeeze in one final job before I had to leave. When I arrived, I found Joseph tidying up his wilderness of a garden. The playhouse was already cleared. Inside, I could see Izzy happily testing out her screw-driving skills on the back of her cassette deck.
You've made quite the impression. Izzy, tells me she's going to be a repairwoman like Maria.
I'm sure she could be anything she wanted if she put her mind to it.
She could. She's a brilliant child. Spending the day with her at the festival, I haven't had so much fun in ages. I wanted to give her something before she starts to forget.
Inside, the house was transformed, flooded with light and the sounds of the garden. It felt alive again. This would be my last repair in Bella Riva, but it felt like it was the house that had really been restored.
It's a music box. It used to play beautifully, but now when I wind it up, nothing happens. I'd love for Izzy to hear it sing again. Can you help?
Of course I can help. It is a very pretty music box. Oh, there's little parts in the bottom. That's a weird way to unscrew something.
Maria, could you add this family picture of us?
Oh, I have to glue, don't I? Glue. So much glue. All the glue. Gotta make sure it sticks. Right? Gotta use plenty of glue. Sure it sticks. Gotta fix it right.
This mechanism is completely broken. I'll need to take it all apart before I can fix it.
Okay, how do I take it apart? Oh, okay. Hmm. Maybe? Seems right. I'm guessing this is one of the things where I can test it before.
Perfect. The mechanism is good as new.
Yay. I just gotta put everything back together. Oh. Forgot about that. Now do I do it? Ah, yep, there it goes. Okay. No, there's still something I'm missing. Oh, okay. I had to take them out of here first. There we
I think
go.
that's everything back together again. I should play it to make sure.
I kept trying to grab them out while they were over here. I forgot you have to pick everything up first, though. Or you can do anything with them. There we
My
go.
wife used to sing this song to Izzy each night before bed, but I always worked too late to join them. Will you dream a dream for me if I sit by your side and hold you so tight? Know that I will always love you, even though we both know that we must say good night. I've missed so much already. I want to be the father my wife wanted me to be. I've ended up so much like my own father, working all the time. Izzy needs me more than that, especially now it's just the two of us. My daughter comes first. Well, until she gets bored of her stuffy old dad anyway.
I'll never ever get bored of you, Dad.
Izzy came running into the room where Joseph scooped her up and onto his shoulders. She gazed at the music box, her eyes shining. I'd never seen her look so happy.
Thank you, Maria, for everything. The things you fixed for me. I'm so glad to have them back.
Joseph was a good father, and I could tell he was determined to be an even better one. When it came down to it, that was all any of us wanted. A second chance to make something right. My time in Bellariva was almost over, but before I left, I knew there was something of my own I needed to fix. My time in Bellariva was almost at an end. Another chapter finished in a story whose ending I hadn't felt ready to write. people I'd met, the items I'd restored, they'd taught me so much about what was really important. Pulling out my suitcase from beneath the bed, I remembered the day I stole it from my parents' shop, the day I left. Afterwards, I was too ashamed to call them, to apologize. It was a guilt I'd been carrying around every day since. As I packed, I knew that it was up to me to find a way to lighten the load. Helena gave me these designer shirts. Not sure I'll pull them off as well as she does. Joseph's idea of light reading for the train. It does look thorough.
History of watches. I would fall asleep reading that if you gave that to me.
The recipe for Carmen's special. I'm under strict instructions to guard it with my life.
You can't even read half of that. You haven't made it, you won't know what 2 of the ingredients are.
Izzy gave me this in exchange for my repair manual. She'll be a pro in no time. My train ticket. Can't believe it's time to leave Bellariva behind. My parents would love Bellariva. Maybe I can convince them to make the trip. The soundtrack to my travels. I'll be listening to this on the journey. My suitcase was full, but it was my heart that felt heavy as I made my way to the station. I was sorry to be leaving Bellariva behind, but I hoped that, in my own small way, I'd made a difference. Helena and Carmen's reunion was possible because they'd learned to overcome their differences. Joseph had realized he shouldn't let his grief or his work get in the way of his relationship with Izzy. They'd each learned to see things from someone else's perspective. Maybe it was time I saw things through my parents' eyes. I knew it would be easier to jump on the next train, put even more distance between us, but I finally felt ready to talk to them. I just didn't know if they would feel the same. Did I even remember their number? I wasn't sure until I reached for the phone and it all came flooding back.
Hi, Sam. How you doing? Mm-hmm. Sure.
Mom? Dad?
Maria? Is that you?
So I missed a stream though? True. Yeah. It was a pretty short game. Thank you for the lurk, Sam.
Dear Maria, Carmen here. Sorry I haven't written. The cafe's been absolutely manic since you left. Luckily, I have Helena here to help. You wouldn't recognise her. She's like a new woman. She's always running round, taking orders and making drinks. I even heard her compliment a customer on their outfit. Personally, I draw the line at fluorescent green bowling shirts, but each to their own. It certainly made the customer smile.
She misses the city, though. Bellariva's many things, but it's definitely not as chic as she'd like. She said there was a coffee shop near her old apartment where they made coffee with a shape drawn on top. It got me thinking, I'm an award-winning chef. I can figure out how to put a leaf on a cappuccino. A bit of cosmopolitan coffee might be just what Helena needs. Of course, ordering a new coffee machine was the easy part. I wish you could have seen the mess I got into trying to put the thing together.
You really shouldn't have touched it. We all know how hopeless you are with these kind of things. Should have called Izzy. Izzy has my repair manual now. Alright, let's see. Why is there just a cookie? Hold on.
I saw Maria use her screwdriver a million times. Taking this apart will be easy.
Right. You're not doing any of this. This is all on me.
These pipes look pretty simple. I should start with them.
Why is it hissing? It's not turned on or plugged in any way. Why are you working? Excuse me. No, I need...
I'll need to connect all the pipes correctly to stop the steam pouring out.
Oh, there's more screws. Man, this thing is magic. Okay. Where does this go? Oh, it goes underneath. Okay, that makes a whole lot of sense, actually. Okay, so let's do this part the easy way.
Maybe I should focus on the pipes first. They look easy.
No, they're really not. Okay, so cup is number 3. Spray is number 2. Means power is number... And that means that back on. And I won't have to worry about the bottom. Power.
Maybe
Power.
I should focus on the pipes first. They look easy.
No, they don't. Focus on the pipes first. What does that even connect to?
How can there be so much steam? Ugh, I'm getting soaked.
I don't think that's right.
Finally.
You happy now? I don't know how there was steam in the first place, lady. And now it just made everything harder because I don't know which ones of these is which. Gray is the top one.
Maybe I should focus on the pipes first.
No.
They look easy.
Shut up.
Finally, no more steam.
Yay, I did
That's
it.
everything? Better test the buttons, just to make sure. All done. Piece of cake. Time to make my first coffee, I think.
I don't know how to make coffee.
Smells delicious. Now to make it look magical.
Magical. I don't know how to make coffee. How do you do these? Do. We're just gonna flood it with cream. I hope you like extra cream.
A perfect coffee. All it needs is a saucer and a couple of Helena's favourite biscuits.
This is a British game. As soon as you call these biscuits, it's a British game.
I was feeling more has-been than coffee queen by the time I'd made a drink fit for human consumption. It looked a bit, postmodern, but knowing Helena's refined tastes, I hoped she'd think it was intentional. Always the connoisseur, she didn't even bother to look at it at first. She was so busy wafting it under her nose. Steamed up her glasses, of course. How was she going to see my work of art through an eye full of fog?
Yes, work of art.
When she finally spotted it, though, she was totally impressed. I'll admit, she spent several minutes trying to figure out exactly what it was I'd drawn. She decided it was probably a horse. Well, what she doesn't know won't hurt her. She was impressed enough to ask for another one. I guess I'll need to get some practice in. The whole thing was such hard work, Maria. I never realised how difficult it was, all that mechanical stuff. It made me realise how much I have to thank you for, so I wanted to say that now. Better latte than never. hoping you're well. Your friend, Carmen.
Well done. That was it. Oh, a very nice game. I like that game. Very chill, very nice.